Have you noticed that over the past year, the hottest theme in the US stock market isn't just AI? There's something else that's even more like science fiction, but it's closer to national interests, closer to defense contracts, and closer to communications infrastructure. Space. The space sector ETF had a total annual return of 67.36% in 2025. In just a few days into 2026, as of the close on January 9th, its year-to-date return has already reached 13.5%. This isn't just retail investor sentiment, it's more like capital is making early bets. Space is transforming from science fiction and romance into a silent steel torrent on the balance sheets, a cash flow machine where all kinds of forces are vying for advantage. The core of this rally in the space sector isn't driven by a single factor. It's the result of three forces coming together. Policy locks in demand, business scales things up, and capital anchors the valuations. Today, I'm going to break down these three things for you from the ground up. Space used to be for the elite, limited to powerful nations and massive satellites. Now, the US is shifting to resilient, low-orbit distributed systems. A key organization behind this shift remains. That's the SDA, the Space Development Agency. On December 19th, 2025, the SDA put their money right on the table. 4 contracts totaling about $3.5 billion for 72 missile-tracking infrared satellites, which were awarded to Northrop and others. And Rocket Lab. Keep in mind, this isn't research funding. These are fixed-price contracts. It's not a one-off project either. It's clearly aimed at continuously strengthening missile warning, tracking, and even missile defense capabilities. This also means that space is shifting from exploration to becoming part of military communications, missile defense, and command and control. You don't have to believe in science fiction or romance, but you have to respect the budget. As long as the logic of national security holds, the orders will keep coming. So what's the most exciting aspect of space commercialization? In my opinion, it's not rockets, it's connectivity. Starlink, as one of SpaceX's most important business lines, is essentially all about connectivity at its core. From a capital perspective, in the short term, SpaceX's launch business can provide stable cash flow, but in the long run, Starlink is truly the ceiling for SpaceX's valuation. First, we need to understand that Starlink isn't selling satellites, it's selling connectivity. Many people think Starlink is an aerospace company, but in the business world, it's more like a global carrier. It doesn't make money by selling satellites, it makes money by selling one simple promise. You can get online anywhere. Starlink's most basic customers are everyday users. You buy a terminal, pay a monthly subscription fee, and you can get online in the desert, on snowy plains, on remote islands, or even in an RV. Doesn't that sound a lot like a telecom operator? But here's the difference. Ground-based operators rely on cell towers, while Starlink relies on satellites. The satellites are at cell towers. So Starlink's first layer of business is a subscription-based global broadband service. But the real money doesn't come from regular users, it comes from enterprise clients. Airlines want internet access on planes, shipping companies need communications at sea, energy companies need offshore platform connectivity, and mining, engineering, and exploration all require a stable signal. What matters to them isn't just whether they can get online, but whether the connection drops or the latency is low. Whether the connection is stable in extreme environments, that's what the high-priced version of the service offers, enterprise-level communications. But what truly makes Starlink a national asset is its third layer. In situations of war, disaster, blockade, or internet outages, what does connectivity mean? It means command, it means intelligence, it means survival. Here, internet access is power, not entertainment. That's why Starlink is now a vital strategic tool. And this is also why governments around the world take it seriously, why the military is willing to procure it long-term, and why the capital markets give it a national security premium. The third point is the most pragmatic one in the capital markets, valuation. When the market is focused on SpaceX's potential $1.5 trillion IPO in 2026, the secondary market will instinctively come up with one question: if I want to buy in a secondary market, who can serve as its proxy? In December 2025, ETF Trends even directly mentioned UFO, which strengthened as discussions about a SpaceX IPO heated up. This is a classic mechanism of thematic trading. Bigger, mysterious market leaders are harder to buy. As this happens, secondary markets shift funds to tradable assets. This drives the space sector's strong beta, benefiting from both national security and communications infrastructure premiums, as well as the valuation premium unique to this sector. So you'll notice that by 2026, the space sector isn't just driven by imagination, but by three things. The national budget is footing the bill, business models are maturing, and capital is repricing over and over again, and that's the real game changer. But I have to remind you that new thematic sectors tend to attract a lot of capital when they're hottest, but they can also pull back just as quickly when the hype fades. The Financial Times cited research from Morningstar showing that most thematic ETFs have underperformed their benchmarks over the past few years, and there's a real issue with investors buying in at the peak. The space sector faces the same risk. When expectations are running high, valuations can take off first, but actual performance might not keep up. Direct-to-device satellite connectivity is definitely a trend, but there are a lot of hurdles it still needs to overcome, like spectrum interference regulations, settlement models with telecom operators, satellite capacity, and costs. This isn't something that can be solved with just one product launch. Any delay in any part of the process could trigger a correction. I've always believed that one of humanity's greatest impulses is to leave the ground. After millennia of stargazing, we've built a space industry. By 2026, space won't just be a distant dream, but a strategic arena for major powers and a new infrastructure era, emerging as the backbone for global connectivity.